Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News, or our monthly NFT update with our friend Maddie, DCL Blogger. How have you
So
been, mate?
nice.
It's been, I think, has it been a couple of months? I can't even keep track. It's been absolutely wild in this space. So, welcome back.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a while. Feels like a year because that's just the space is just moving so fast.
It is. And last time we were saying that, the space is getting a little bit hot. NFTs were selling for, I was saying five figures in the pre-interview, and now it's like six and seven figures is becoming
Mm-hmm.
sales that we're regularly seeing every day.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just wild, isn't it? And we've got some of these just massive names: Gary V, Jack Dorsey, who's the other one? Mark Cuban, nuts.
Chamath as well. I think he mentioned he's collecting art. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I think I was talking to you about this before, Alex, that for us or for some of the people that have been watching the space for 2 years, 3 years, there's been waves that come in and they break records like every 3 to 6 months. So, tens of thousands of dollars. I remember doing a YouTube video saying, why did this crypto punk sell for $15,000? And that was like a year ago this time. And now I think they've sold for over a mil. So it's one of those things where you just keep seeing these waves come in and you're like, all right, there may be a top, but it's been 2 to 3 years now, right?
Hmm.
So are these correlated with the crypto cycles? Are they doing their own thing? Yeah, it's just
It
crazy.
does. I mean, there's been these tweets going around saying, "Oh, this is like the ICO boom all over again." And in some ways, I do agree that it's almost paper wealth, but because no one's ever realized it, just like ICOs
Mhm.
had huge valuations because people were investing ETH that had 10x at the time they'd invested it. It's the same thing, I guess, happening with NFTs, but I mean, does that make it less real? And are people not really looking to realize that wealth? They're going to
Mhm.
hold it in NFTs, and are they going to hold their value better? I'm not sure, but some part of me says that this is almost part of the art world anyway. Like that
Mhm.
happens, whether but it's like crypto. Some people say, "Oh, it's money laundering," and other people say, "Oh, it's just value transfer." It's the way that the
Mhm.
rich like to diversify. So there's all sorts of reasons you can argue for and against these valuations.
Mhm. Well, if you think about it, in the traditional art world, if someone purchases an art piece for 70 million, right, something ridiculous, maybe like the best Banksy piece, and I'm not from the traditional art world collecting space, so I'm not going to pretend that I know the most about it, but if you think about the psychology, when someone does that, do they expect to sell it later on for, the next year for some time more? Are they looking to invest? Most likely, it's like the hobby of someone who's super rich who wants a Banksy on his wall, and when he gets his friends over, they're all like, "Oh, you got a Banksy," like there's a different collectability kind of flaunting, signaling factor to the NFT space that I think a lot of crypto native people have a difficult time transitioning into. And I only learned about it when I invested, and I realized it by actually participating. And I was like, "Oh, wait a second! When I tweet this out, it means something to this community,
Hmm.
right?" So.
I also think that comparing it to like other bubbles or the ICO space when there was retail investors that had made sort of paper wealth and they're trying to like flip it into the next hottest thing, it's very different to someone that's like very wealthy already coming in and buying something that's like a limited edition,
Exactly.
particularly like a one of one. It's not like a one of one can be a bubble that pops 90%. Like there's
Mhm.
always those wealthy people. So I just think that there's a lot of things that are different, comparing it to like just
Yeah,
just saying
absolutely.
that, oh, this is all like the ICO bubble.
Yeah, but I definitely see a bit of like speculation and flippers. And the demographic, I think, is because it was born out of the crypto environment, you definitely have a big amount of, like, say, speculators that buy to probably want to flip the next day. And so
Mm.
the open edition, so in Nifty Gateway, they do this thing where in 5 minutes you can buy as many art pieces of this specific artist as you can, right? And in 5 minutes, I think Trevor Jones sold like 4,000 pieces at like $800 each. So that was like 3.5 million, but suddenly there's 4,000 pieces in circulation.
Mm.
So for the next 2 days, you can just see people pretty much dumping them or selling them for like $100 profit. But then after the speculators are gone, the collectors and the true hodlers, they're the ones that aren't selling as easily. And so the demand starts to outweigh the supply in a way.
Yeah.
And now I think it sold for, I think, $800, and now it's sitting at about 2 to 3K a piece about a couple of weeks later after the speculators have started to move out. So yeah, there's a mix of both, and you have to know who. I think when you're participating in these environments, you have to know which ones have a healthy dose of collectors as opposed to speculators.
Yeah, that's the same as like a Uniswap airdrop where you get the people that dump initially,
Hmm.
and then we get a bit of price discovery, and then it's the people that realize the value are the hodlers, and they know the fundamentals, and then they're the ones that are rewarded later on. I completely agree that there's a speculation that's coming in, and to that end, I do believe it will end like the ICO bubble. So when you see like maybe Binance Chain or Binance coming out with Binance Punks or whatever they're called, and then there's all these other, there's going to be knockoffs and copycats and sort of Me Too projects, a bit like forks, but the space that we want to concentrate on, which is like the good artists and all that, the high end stuff, it's going to stay just like DeFi and the best projects survived crypto winter.
I agree, and it's one of those things as well where no one really knows because it's so new. It's 3 years old. The NFT space is 3 years old. My thesis is investing in projects and artists that have been here for ages. The artists that I have probably been in the space for 5-10 years, building since they were 6 years old, right? They're not going anywhere. You go to their Twitter feed, it's all art. You go to their Instagram, they live art. Compare that to someone like Paris Hilton who comes and drops something and probably will disappear for the next 10 years. Is that going to hold value once there's like 1,000 celebrities that dropped art? I don't know, but I'm not going to touch it, right?
Yeah. Or Lindsay Lohan tweeting about Tron, that sort of thing.
And also cryptocurrencies, so like Decentralised and the other projects that have been here for 2-3 years, and they're warriors because they survived a huge bearish period. And if projects can survive that, I mean, I do definitely have like a big portion of my portfolio in these new exciting projects. But for me, those that have survived for 2 years and have continued to build a project and grow a user base in a bear period, for me, it's like, all right, well, these have more longevity potential. So,
yeah. I'll just I'll share my screen so you can see what we're looking at too, Maddie. I'll bring up this chart of the top coins. So this is basically the top 9 or 10 projects that I've been focused on and telling members about. And for members, you can see most of these are in my portfolio. But it's a little bit like the DeFi space in crypto winter, where some of these were literally like Funfair down 99%. And we've spoken about with Raul and others about price discovery, and in VC world, in capital investing, there's almost no price discovery when you invest in an early stage company, and you shouldn't be able to because price would be too wild. And that's kind of what happened. There's no liquidity, there's no true price discovery or value until there's some interest. And so all of a sudden, very quickly, these things, as soon as there's a few buyers, they're all up 1,000%. So this is year to date. The 9 projects all up between 1,500%. Game Credits is the worst performer, and it's up 120% year to date. So I think last year, very bullish on DeFi. This year already, it's about gaming projects and NFTs. And the leaders here, like the best performers, it's no surprise that it is like the industry leaders, and Matic's really helping with scaling to do with a lot of these gaming projects. So that's just something I wanted to share quickly. And we're already seeing not just gaming or not just NFTs. It's things like Mana and Decentraland starting to interface with the real world and like real businesses. Music is probably like the next blossoming space that we're seeing. So there's all these ways to interface with the virtual gaming, whatever you want to call it, digital world.
I agree. And I think it's crazy because I think we live virtually. Most of us are on our phones all the time. We're on laptop all the time. So like the communities will now start to exist online, right? And so there's companies out there that are creating like digital screens. And initially I was like, yeah, that's totally needed. But I'm thinking like, most of these people are sitting virtual anyway. Would they want a digital screen, or would they just want to put it on like their virtual land, or like just tweet about it on Twitter, or put it as a profile picture? Like, it's utility is kind of changing because communities are now existing online.
So what do you mean by a digital screen?
So like just a screen that you can hook up to your MetaMask and then just like display your art on the screen, just like a TV, but all it does is just display digitally whatever your art is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I might have it on my backdrop, like if I collect some art. But apart from that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like with art and stuff and virtual art and NFTs and stuff, people they buy it, they signal it, and this is a cool transition into like Jack's tweet that's for sale. $2.5 million bid. And if you look at Justin Sun's comments, he's someone who's trying to put bids on it. And for Justin Sun, it's a great PR move. It's a great marketing move. If he buys Jack's tweet, obviously that's going to make headlines. So like these kind of power plays for like big businesses that, a couple of percent in their multi-billion-dollar valuations means a lot. What's $2.5 million?
Yeah, so this is valuables by cent, and you can sell your tweets. And what's the biggest offer is like 2.5 million or something like that?
Yeah, so Valuables by Cent is a really cool project. Basically, how it works is I can just go on Valuables Cent. I can plug in your Twitter handle, plug in a tweet that I think will be historic, and place a bid on it without your knowledge. But when you, Alex, when you sign into this, you'll see bids on your tweet, and only you can accept it because you have to log in with your Twitter. You have to authorize it through your Twitter. So it's from you, the creator, to someone who wants it. And Cent is kind of the bridge in between. It's actually really cool.
And this is the same Cent that's a social media platform. I didn't realize they were doing this. So this is Cent, for those of you that don't know, is a decentralized like content sharing app. So it's one of like a dozen projects that we share all our content to. I did not know that.
Steam it, I think.
Okay.
Steam it, Medium, with the claps and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I didn't know that they were doing this. It's awesome to see these little things popping up.
Well, they experimented with this, I'd say, about 6 months ago, and it kind of blew up in our little circle, and everyone was like, "Oh, bidding on tweets and stuff." And I think now, like famous personalities are logging in and realizing, "Wait a second, there's like $1 million on our tweets." Yeah,
I'll have to log in. See, I don't think I've got any famous tweets, but
you'd be surprised.
So other things in the space, our little friend Fuocious, their work's just been exploding. I think it was only a few weeks ago I read that news article that someone else as well crossed like $1 million worth of sales in the NFT space, like the first to do so. And now there's $1 million like single pieces happening every day. So just growing and growing. But it's great to see someone like Fuocious that was the backstory. I didn't even realize, homeless. And now, they've got to buy their own place. They're basically rich and get to do what they love.
Exactly. And I think the great thing about Ferocious is that he's really supportive of other artists. So when you have someone like that, the wealth that comes in gets distributed to those circles. And when that happens, you get a community that are all artists, that are all successful, that can grow their career and then reinvest in their community. So that whole loop of an economic cycle, I think, is super interesting, because it gives the power to creatives. And when creatives are both investors, collectors, and creators, it's a totally different dynamic, because someone like me is quite analytical. I'm a invest money in, get money out kind of person. And I think a lot of people in the crypto space are similar, but I'm excited to be part of something where a creative is the lead in economic distribution, right? And someone like Ferocious and some of these artists are like the perfect people to do that.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. The content creators and economic distribution, that is the model that's changing. And literally, I think it was just this morning, Gary Vee tweeted out again, like the middleman better be scared or something like that. And these people are starting to understand this concept that blockchains get rid of the middleman. So Bitcoin did it for money, and now Ethereum is doing it for, web applications or anything really. And as Gary Vee says, that the middleman better be scared. And we're seeing it in the art world where there's all those agents or whatever. But the next space is, I think, music. And we saw, was it Kings of Leon that tokenized their album? Now, there's plenty of other projects that I know of that are in talks with some of the biggest musicians. You'll know their names straight away, and hopefully you'll see these announcements in the coming weeks. But that is the next one where it's going to cut out that middleman and the record label. But then in gaming, like we said in our interviews with Engine and Decentralised, whatever it is. So the idea with Red Fox, the place we want to get to is these gamers that have the best ideas and they're creating that content. They can get funded by anyone rather than having to bend the knee and going into the VC or going into the corporate and saying, hey, I want to make this game. They're saying, no, we need you to make this game. And like you just said, the economic distribution is completely different. So now if someone tweets an idea and it's someone that's like underrated, but everyone in that circle knows that they're good and they're talented, it all gets retweeted. And it's the same with the artwork. It gets retweeted. And if they're a good person, it's going to spread and create network effects. Whereas if that company does it and they're not really popular, it doesn't really sort of revolve or ripple through the community. And I think
Yeah.
that's not even possible. How would you ever know that a little individual independent game creator is trying to create something from their basement? Whereas now in the digital world, thanks to Twitter, and eventually Twitter will become decentralized, and you'll be able to see their tweet saying, "I want to make this game," and there'll just be a little button that says, donate ETH or DAI or Mana. And this
Eventually, for
is
sure.
like, it's just the flowing of ideas and information and value is instant. It's frictionless. So yeah, a bit of a spill there, a bit of a rant from me, but that's kind of where it's
Isn't
all
it
going.
isn't it cool to see blockchain play out to the ethos that it's designed to do? Like I find it so fascinating, man. I find it like not just monetarily, but just like you said, in the art communities, getting rid of the middleman, in like these multiple places where it's penetrating. It's just like removing the middle layers, and it's just like crazy how it's playing out.
Yeah, and I was so excited when Gary Vee followed me. For those that don't know, Gary Vee is a US guy. He was like an immigrant, and his parents owned a little corner wine store. He started like one of the first websites, and he bought keywords like wine. Next thing you know, his dad's saying, why is our store blowing up with all these orders?" And he said, "Oh, I've started this thing called a website and Google search." And ever since then, he's become like one of the bleeding edge at marketing and social media and personal branding. So yeah, he followed me the other day, and I was super excited. And I said to Maddie, and Maddie's like, "Oh, Gary Vee followed me, a while back, and I mentioned you to him." I was like, "Oh, maybe that's why Gary followed me." But he is into the NFT space. I think you've got some content lined up with him. I'm hoping to get him too. But either way, I just think if we can sit down with Gary Vee and pitch him and talk to him about some of this stuff that we're seeing and what you're seeing with NFTs and what I'm seeing with like Ethereum, he's already probably got half it, but these big people that have millions of followers, this is going to influence the growth of the crypto space just so much. Like Mark Cuban already has.
Yeah, Mark's kind of gone in, and I think what he's doing is trying to find like the gems and the future unicorns, and he's going in kind of not really talking too much about his plays until he's invested. And you can see him, you can just see some project announced, "Oh, Mark Cuban is now an investor." So he's kind of doing things first before I think he goes hard in pushing the space. Gary Vee, I feel like Gary is really involved at a very collector level. And I think there was a video that came out, and his quote was like, "This is the embodiment that this is me, like collecting and trading and all this sort of stuff. Like, this is me. This is like the space I love to be in." And that's where the collectability side and the NFT side is bringing out a fun side to many people, which, for a big part of us, we used to collect when we were kids, and life came our way, and then we stopped, we started to do work. But how about go back to collecting in communities that people that you know and love, and then collecting, trading, and it's profitable? Like, how cool of a thing is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that Gary teaches about is like, hustling and flipping and going to garage sales. But this is all sort of coming to the digital world now, and it's all provable. So it's no wonder that he absolutely loves it.
Yeah. And I think the community aspect is also really awesome, because in doing so, the money, like we said before, is getting distributed to creatives. So it's not just like hustlers hustling and selling like USBs and stuff. It's artists creating things, whether it be music, stuff on their land, businesses on Decentraland, like projects, and them getting the money. And I think that's just super cool.
Again, even this morning I saw on Twitter there was someone that had like an airdrop or LP rewards. Even like I can't remember if it's like a food token. Anyway, they've feeding homeless communities. It's just the power of this money, the airdrops compared to some of these places around the world where $2 a day is what they live off. There's this money that's already starting to infiltrate. And I think Jack's giving his tweet profits to
Yeah, he
Caring
did mention he's giving it to his charity.
Africa, something to do
Yeah.
with Africa, but absolutely breaking down those barriers. The other thing that we've seen, I guess, just Ethereum in general has really become a blue chip. So, I mean, I've been shilling it like it's a blue chip for 3 years, and people thinking, "Oh, no, it's just Nugget's favorite." But I think really it's stamped its authority now. And with fees still ridiculously high, we have seen other chains capture a bit of market share, like Binance Smart Chain and others integrating with Ethereum. But very, very soon, you're going to see a mutable, Connect, Matic, even within the next few weeks. By the time we speak next, I hope that we're seeing some of these scaling solutions on Ethereum. And when it's free to mint NFTs, trade them, swap them, that's going to allow more people to come in. Because at the moment, it's prohibitive. The average retail guy can't afford to mint an NFT for $250 when they're probably not going to even get that for trying to sell it or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also stopping projects that have lesser assets that can be traded, like buying and selling cards for a couple of bucks. You're not going to do it when you're paying $50 in gas fees.
No.
But I agree with you that I think the desperation of current existing NFT projects or dApps in general needing it is accelerating, Matic to go out there and get it done, and Immutable X to go out there and get it done. And there's a huge community that want to stay Ethereum native just because it's more secure, it's decentralized, it's what decentralization kind of stands for. So there's always going to be that support and innovation in that space, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other specific news items that have happened over the past month, Matty?
Yeah, big ones, man. So like Christie's auction. I know we talk about art a lot, but I like to talk about like the most promising spaces, right? We talked about art before as well, and that was when art was kind of among the others. But I think like where the volume is coming in and where the news is coming in, it's good to kind of bring that out there. So Christie's is auctioning the first ever NFT, which is a piece by Beeple, and it's a piece that has 5,000 of his artwork all in one collage, and that's like represents 13 years of his everydays. And its current bid is at 9.75 million, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 9.75 million. And the cool thing is, so there's a token called B20. And B20 is actually a collection of Beeple's pieces, 20 of his first ever one-of-one single editions, all kind of put into this digital vault. And Metacoven, who was the investor back then, he issued a token called B20. And B20 back then, I think it was like 35 or 50 cents. Currently, it's trading at $20 because people are expecting the Beeple auction to go nuts. So there's a correlation there that people can participate or invest in. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So this is what we were talking about last time, that we need like an index. We need a way for people to get exposure to the NFT space. And we've already seen, I think it was PyDAO that put forward the proposal, but there's another one is it already up there? Anyway, there's some DeFi index that have already come out, which is fantastic to see. So this is the guys by, is it Whale Street that had another index as well already? Is that right?
No. So Whale Shark, he's got the whale index, the whale token. That's separate to B20. B20 are a different group of investors who have just kind of made an ERC20 on Beeple pieces. So investing in the B20 token, you're really investing in Beeple's career. So it's a pretty cool way.
So this website, Whale Street, is nothing to do with Whale Shark?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you can see there the one-of-one edition. So what happened was in December when Beeple first dropped his art, or no, the second time he dropped his art, he dropped about 21 single edition pieces, and they went for about $100,000 each. The 21st one went for $700,000 each, $700,000. But the first 20 that were bought, they were bought by the same person, Metacoven, who he kind of collected it, made like a big event on Decentralised and Somnium Space, etc. And you can see there that's why there's some land there as well. And he's kind of collected them all into some digital vault and issued a ERC20 on them.
That's awesome. That is something that we should have done, or maybe we can still do.
We can. Well, check this out. So he probably spent about 2.5 million, maybe 3 million on the acquisition of those pieces. Currently, if the NFT auction on Christie's goes for, say, $10 million, then suddenly those single editions hypothetically are worth around 10 million each because they're all single editions, right? So that's why the valuation of that vault goes to like $100, $200 million, which, from $3 million to have that sort of valuation, it's like pretty big. And it's all based on like that sort of genius thinking, I think was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one that's gone nuts is NBA Top Shots. And someone within our community was saying that they had their account locked and they haven't been able to withdraw.
Mhm.
Look, I think this is a little bit like the Bitfinex Tether thing, where it's probably a symptom of that growth. And I think they were trying to raise capital. They've gone from a tiny little unknown platform to having millions of dollars and tens of thousands of users. So I think there's a scaling issue there. So I hope that problem's resolved, but I don't think that they're like a scam or anything like that.
No, I think also what's happening is that as these NFT projects are turning on their fiat on ramps, they're susceptible for more regulations.
Yeah.
And then so you have to KYC. The moment you're paying with credit card, I'm assuming, especially in America, you probably have to KYC to get your money out. And then there's a process. And if everyone's KYCing, tens of thousands of people, and then if everyone needs to get approved, and like you said, scaling issues and all that, I think it's a time thing. Although I'm not personally invested, so I don't know personally, but Dapper Labs have been here for 3 years. I don't see why they would.
Yeah, the
Tons of
flow.
brand.
I just wonder if this is a case again of like a more centralized chain versus if it was on Ethereum. I guess the app or the protocol could theoretically still freeze your account, but more and more we're going to see examples of why like the fully decentralized version is just better to stick to if you can, and that's why people want to stick to Ethereum and they're waiting for the scaling because they know that in theory Binance Smart Chain or another blockchain can get a letter to those 21 nodes or whatever it is and get shut down pretty easily if push comes to shove with the authorities or whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's like the whole concept of blockchain and the fact that it's secure because it's run by the community. It all kind of goes away when you go to these centralized chains. But the catch-22 is the centralized chains. They're kind of faster, they're more nimble.
Yeah.
They can get things going and everything's on chain. So for Flow, great project, and I'm pretty sure Roham's going to be here for a while. Everything's on chain, so all the NBA Top Shot volume that you see, it all happens on blockchain, which is pretty impressive because there's probably like thousands or tens of thousands of transactions happening every day for fractions of the cost, if not free.
These are effectively the same as a layer 2. So everything that Binance Smart Chain is doing, layer 2s on Ethereum will be able to do as well, and that's why I think we're going to see it very soon. Any other platforms? It's good to see these little projects make a bit of a comeback. That have been working really hard, and like Funfair is just a great example. Game Credits is even older again. Just the resurgence of some of these old projects. Now it's it's gaming's time. It's great to see them get the spotlight again, I think.
Yeah, I think it's cool because gaming was a very promising industry in 2017 as well, or the concept of it. So that's why like Game Credits did well and Funfair did well, because we all kind of knew that blockchain in gaming was going to be revolutionary. And I think it's going to be the time where now's their time to shine, but also show what they can do, because the tech is there to actually show what a game can do. And I think games might take another year or two to be really, really AAA quality and be the star of the show of the NFT space. But when it does happen, I think gaming is just going to crush. I think it's especially that sort of stuff on Twitter, and then you can suddenly your ferocious piece becomes like a ferocious shoe in a game, or like a sword, and then everything interrupts. It's just going to be so cool because everyone in the community can participate.
eHomie was another one that I forgot. So I might just add. I might add them and just see if they're coming up, or let's just have a look at their performance. So eHomie is like a little one that's, I think, is it New Zealand based? There's some Aussie guys involved as well.
Are they?
They're
New Zealand based.
They've been crushing it. Have a look at this, 8,000%. So this was a little ICO that a few of our members partook in, and we had them on the channel in 2017. Again, the time is right, and now it's up 8,000% in a year. Well done to them. 4,000% in 30 days. Wow.
Jeez.
But
crazy.
I was talking to a mate, and he said, yeah, their kids downloaded the app, and this is like, what is it? It's like the Pokemon where it's augmented reality. So you have the little things that you see there through your phone. And he said his kids download the app, they love it, they're all playing it already. And so just like seeing that firsthand and having that as an investment is cementing the investing thesis for this guy. But another
What's
really
the market cap on it?
They've brought out the Vive platform. You might have heard of that. I think I haven't got it listed here on market cap because I think it's still like in the distribution phase or unlocking. I honestly don't know. I'll ask the guys.
Yeah, it doesn't say it here either.
I'm literally having them on the channel.
Worth of trading volume, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'm having them on the channel tomorrow. I'm not sure when it's going to go up, but
So
I'll ask them.
8th Feb, it went from, it basically like, yeah, 20x in price within 3 days or something. What happened here? That's crazy. Or 2 weeks. They've been
Wow.
under the radar for a long time, although the licensing power has been pretty public. Like the fact that they've got someone from the board of Pokemon or someone working with them, and people from Marvel, etc. But
That's
yeah,
right.
I just didn't know what the product was, right?
Yeah. I'll just bring up the website quickly. People might remember it. They've got an Ecomi wallet, like a little digital card. But that's yeah, it was this branding that they had. They had these partnerships very early on. And once again, the community kind of realized this and go, oh wow, they've got, Batman and whatever it is it Pokemon, and next thing you know, bang, explodes in value. So well done to the little investors there. Anything else, Matty, to wrap up?
Yeah, man, we can talk about Justin Blau. I think he definitely deserves a mention because Justin Blau, famous DJ, he dropped art on his own platform. So this is not going with Nifty Gateway or OpenSea or anyone. I think they partnered with Origin Protocol that built out like his own website and sold 11.6 million, I think, $11 million plus worth of music NFTs.
Is that it, Justin Blau?
Just no. So it's 3LAU. The number 3. Yeah. LAU, sorry, man. LAU, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So let's see if he's pinned it. Is he pinned it?
So he's got some on Nifty Gateway, but you're saying he's got his own platform here.
Yeah, I mean, he's dropped on Nifty Gateway, but for this specific drop, oh yeah, this one. So this ultraviolet collection, I believe, sold for like, go to Visit Marketplace, and I think you can kind of see. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can pull it up here. But yeah, it sold for $11.6 million, and I think it was the biggest sale of obviously an NFT drop in the music space by far. And I think since then he's kind of been hit up with like media stations, but I think this was the pivot or like a big kind of move to signal that NFTs and music are like a really good match.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? So you'll get exclusive tracks and all that sort of thing. The interaction with the artist.
So Forbes just wrote about him saying the largest NFT sale ever came from a business school dropout turned star DJ.
Yeah.
And we had Whale Shark, I think, bid like $2.6 million for one of the top pieces. And he lost the bid. I think the highest bid was like 2.7 million. But it's just crazy because what's also happening is that the investors in this space that understand art and collecting are realizing that history is the history of the digital era of NFTs representing any sort of like digital value being transacted is being written right now. So the first NFT to hit $10 million, the first music NFT project to hit over $10 million, those events create a story that give value to the NFTs themselves. So as people are purchasing them, they know in the back of their minds that if this hits mainstream, it's going to be a big deal, right? 10 years when they look back and there's the music NFT industry is huge, they're going to look back to these events and these will have iconic value. So the narrative is being written right now. Obviously they're investing because they love Justin Blau and they love his work as well, but there's also that sort of thing being played out.
That's why I'm sitting on that NFT of mine that's over 2 years old, hoping that that's going to be very valuable one day as one of the older NFTs. Thanks to Jeff who gave me that for my birthday present in 2018 or 2019. Anyway, yeah.
There you go, man. Never underestimate NFT birthday presents. They could be a stupid amount of value someday.
Yeah, I was a noob. I remember getting it and like, oh, I can't see it in my Etherscan. Just like people are asking me now. It's like, oh no, you've got to go to Super Rare or Nifty Gateway or Rareable, and then you see these things in your address. So.
Yeah, I think we should also quickly talk about just the cryptocurrency side of NFTs and just the fact that a lot of these NFT projects, in terms of the crypto, like whether it be Flow or Matic, like the underlying blockchain, or whether it be the projects themselves, like Red Fox Labs, Decentralised, Sandbox, Axie, Wax. There's like Meme, Rari, Rarible, the art marketplace. it seems like anything that pretty much touches on the NFT space is doing well. So yeah, I've just seen my portfolio in the last 3-4 days, and everything's kind of neutral except for like the NFT ones that are just like going off the chain.
Yeah. Well, let's just have a look at a few of these. Yeah, meme 300% in 30 days. I think I kind of get the feeling that this is about to lead the next wave. If it, like for the whole space, I think Ethereum. Remember how Ethereum really lagged all the DeFi coins? I think that if Ethereum's about to have another leg up, and maybe even Bitcoin and all the space, it's going to be dragged up by this bullish activity that we're seeing. Yeah, Rarible, 300% in 30 days. It's funny how all these things are now slightly correlated. I was looking last night. Yeah, Mana, 200%, Engine, 400%. So they're all sort of just tracking each other at similar growth. And there's a research piece that we're doing for members that talks about the indexes and all these indexes that are being created. It's the same for DeFi. They have this drag effect where people buy them, but on the back end, they're all buying this mix of tokens, these basket of tokens from Uniswap or 0x or 1inch. They're plugging in. And so whenever more people go, oh, I'm going to buy that gaming index or DeFi index, if you know the different tokens that are weighted and how they're going to benefit and which indexes they're in, they're the ones that are going to perform the best. And it's the same how like every ETF has Tesla and Facebook and that in it. And we saw those stocks absolutely pump because they're in all these ETFs. So that's a little research piece that will be dropping soon for members.
Interesting. I think also now is the time for these indexes, for these kind of projects that have easier liquidity and easier exposure for the NFT space to shine, because I get so many DMs, man, about people that want exposure to NFT spaces but just don't know what the hell to buy. They're like, is there an easy way to invest? So
and
I
you
reckon
can say
will do really well.
Things like, oh, well, if you want to be 20 or go and buy that, hopefully there's like a gaming or NFT Pi on Pi DAO or synthetics. There's one other one, Mera Finance. There's just so many of these little things that are popping up that are giving people ways to create little indexes or baskets of tokens.
Yeah, NFT space is exciting as ever. It'll be crazy. I don't know what the hell to expect the next month when we do this update.
Cool. Any final thoughts, Matty? Well done. Your channel's grown. I can't remember what it was last month, but you're up to 8,500 subscribers, and on Twitter you've grown up to 26,000. How much has that all grown in this year?
Oh, it's crazy, man. Like I've been focusing on doing threads and just putting out information about the NFT space. It's more just out of concern because I think there's hype cycles here, and I think when people are buying NFTs, I'm hoping that they don't get that money stuck, that they don't have a bitter experience. So it's kind of just keeping on pushing out content to keep people just aware that just because everyone's talking about it and it's all buzzed up, this is not like cryptocurrency where if you buy, you can sell it easily if it dips back down. This is an NFT where if you buy for $2,000, it could be worthless the next month.
I've certainly been like the one that's saying, hey, heed caution this cycle compared to being, I'm very bullish in the middle of crypto winter, but now I feel the need to try and tell people just to be careful. But that's a good point you raised about the coins, and art is so illiquid. Like even a small cap alt, you might buy some, and then you find that the bid ask buy and sell price, the spread is really big, and there's not a lot of liquidity. But that's even more so in the NFT world. There might be no buyers on a piece if you invest incorrectly. So that's really important.
Well, if you buy something, let's say you spent $1,000 on a cryptocurrency, and the next month it's going for $300, your bag, you can sell that and move on. But in the NFT space, it doesn't work like that, because say you bought it for $1,000 and then suddenly the cheapest listing is $300, but no one's buying it. So you'd probably have to list it for $200, maybe $150 to get it sold. And yeah, it's a place where I think you should enter cautiously. So you should enter with a little bit of money first and then understand the economy, and then put more the more confident you get.
Awesome. Okay. Guys, as always, leave any questions down below for next month. Make sure you're following Matty. Matty, you've been doing some write-ups and stuff as well in the group, haven't you?
Here and there. I'll do more.
We can't keep up. So guys, hope you've enjoyed that one. Speak again next month. Cheers.
See you guys.